Yeah. All right.
All right. Oh, that's good. Life is a journey to know.
Now let's get this party started, huh?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Diallo.
Yeah.
Welcome again. This is going to be our joke hour.
Okay.
So we're going to listen to some jokes. I got my lovely assistant, Trudy, here. Say hi, Trudy.
Hi there, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got a promotion, huh?
She got a promotion, exactly.
Wow, that was
It's going to be our joke hour, which we have not had in a while.
Oh,
With the holidays and New Year's and all that stuff. It's been kind of hard, right?
Yes. We all had to stay home.
I know, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So
We all had to stay home.
we are gonna find some funny jokes for everybody,
Oh, good.
just so we can laugh,
Of course. My father said laughter is the best medicine.
isn't it?
Yes. That's what he said. We can't be serious all the time.
All right.
This is the best
So here we go.
medicine.
We're gonna start right now with our first set of jokes. First, I'm gonna turn the fan on me because I get hot.
Okay. Okay. Oh, good. We
I
have
get
that.
toasty, so I'm gonna turn the fan on
Oh,
myself.
that's good.
I get a little toasty.
That's good.
You're still not even on me. Ah, There. it's on me. Now it's on me. Oh yeah. Feel that cold, fresh air. So here's just a short, fun joke.
Okay.
Regular naps help prevent old age, especially when you take them while driving. Because if you take a nap while driving, you crash and you die.
Oh, no.
And you don't get to old age.
Are you dead then?
No way.
And you don't get to old age.
Uh-oh. We're old enough.
So
Yeah, if you crash, you're gonna end up
you
being
be
dead.
I
dead.
know, huh? That's the point. Next one says, when Uncle Charlie died of old age, Bill was bequeathed his uncle's prized Amazon parrot.
Okay.
The parrot was fully grown with a bad attitude and a worse vocabulary. Every other word was an expletive. Those that weren't expletives were, to say the very least, extremely rude. Bill tried hard to change the bird's attitude and was consistently saying polite words, playing soft music, anything he could think of to try and set a good example, but nothing worked. Exasperated, he yelled at the bird, but the bird just got louder. Then he shook the parrot,
Oh,
but the
my.
bird just got more angry and more rude. Finally, a moment of desperation, Bill put the parrot in the freezer.
Oh.
For a few moments, he heard the bird squawking, kicking, and screaming.
Oh.
Then suddenly, all was quiet.
Oh.
Bill was frightened that he might have hurt his dead uncle's prized parrot and quickly opened the freezer door.
Oh.
The parrot calmly stepped out onto Bill's extended arm and said, I am truly sorry that I might have offended you with my language and action, and I humbly ask for your forgiveness.
Oh.
I will now, from this day forth, endeavor to correct my behavior so that such an ill-perceived outburst never occurs again.
Oh.
Bill was completely astonished at the bird's change of attitude and was about to ask what had caused such a dramatic change when the parrot continued.
Hmm.
May I ask, what did the chicken do?
Play.
Because you put the bird in the freezer
Oh.
and the bird got nice all of a sudden because he saw the dead chickens in there.
Oh.
So he was like, what did the chicken do? Because I don't want to end up like that.
What did the chicken do?
The chicken was dead. It was in the freezer, ready to cook.
Oh,
And the bird got scared. And the parrot got scared, like, uh-oh, he's gonna cook me and eat me.
So the parrot cooked.
Mhm. A woman returns to her room in the old age home to find another old lady with her hands on her husband's pants.
Oh.
She is
Oh,
furious.
Oh, here you
What does she have that I don't? Parkinson's, answered the husband. Because her hand, the other lady's hands are on the husband's pants, right?
Uh-huh.
And she's got Parkinson's, so she's always shaking. That's a little dirty.
Oh, good.
There was an elderly couple who in their old age noticed that they were getting a lot more forgetful. So they decided to go to the doctor. The doctor told them that they should start writing things down so they don't forget.
Oh.
They went home and the old lady told her husband to get a bowl of ice cream.
Oh.
You might want to write it down, she said.
Oh
The
my.
husband said, no, I can remember that you want a bowl of ice cream. She then told her husband she wanted a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream.
Oh.
Write it down, she told him. And again, he said, no, I can remember. You want a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream.
Oh.
Then the old lady said she wanted a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream and a cherry on top.
Wow.
Write it down, she told her husband again. And again, he said, no, I got it. You want a bowl of ice cream with whipped cream and a cherry on top.
Okay.
So he goes to get the ice cream and spends an unusually long time in the kitchen, over 30 minutes.
Oh.
He comes out to his wife and hands her a plate of eggs and bacon. The old wife stares at the plate for a moment, then looks at her husband and asks, where's the toast? So they both forgot that they were getting
I
ice cream.
forgot.
Yeah, they both forgot the ice cream.
Oh my goodness. That's what happens when you grow old. You forget everything.
All
Yeah.
right, this one's kind of dirty.
Oh. Okay.
My wife looked me in the eyes and said, honey, they're not wrinkles or old age. They're laughter lines.
Oh.
It's the nicest things everyone's ever said to my scrotum.
Oh.
Next one.
Good.
Let's see. Next one. A gorilla dies of old age at a zoo right before the zoo opens.
Oh.
It's the only gorilla at the zoo since they are not very profitable. However, the gorilla is their most popular attraction by far, and they can't afford to go a day without it. So the zoo owner asked one of his workers to wear a gorilla suit they have in storage for an extra $100 a day if he will go in the gorilla cage and to pretend to be a gorilla until the zoo can afford a new one.
Oh.
Quickly, the new gorilla becomes the most popular craze at the zoo. People from all over are coming to see the human-like gorilla. About a month in, the craze has started to wear off. So to get people's attention back, he decides to climb over his enclosure and hang from the net ceiling above the lion's den next to him. A large crowd of people gather, watching the spectacle in awe and terror. Suddenly, the man loses his grip and falls to the floor of the lion's den.
Oh.
The man starts screaming, help, help, help.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a lion pounces on him from behind and whispers in his ear, shut the F up right now or you're gonna get us both fired.
That's a good one. I thought that was going to happen.
No, because the lion was actually a man in a lion suit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
That was good.
What's the secret to having a smoking hot body in old age?
Oh.
Cremation.
Oh.
It'll be burning.
Cremation.
Oh my goodness.
This one's called old age.
Oh, how sad.
60 is the worst age to be, said the 60-year-old man. You always feel like you have to pee, and most of the time you just stand there and nothing comes out. Oh, that's nothing, said the 70-year-old.
Oh.
When you're 70, you don't have bowel movements anymore. You take laxatives, eat bran, sit on the toilet all day, and nothing comes out.
Oh.
Actually, said the 80-year-old man, 80 is the worst age of all. Do you have trouble peeing too? Asked the 60-year-old man. No, I pee every morning at 6 a.m. I pee like a racehorse on a flat rock. No problem at all.
Oh.
So, Do you have a problem with your bowel movement? No, I have one every morning at 6:30.
Oh,
Exasperated, the 60-year-old man said,
uh-huh.
wait, you pee every morning at 6 a.m. and crap every morning at 6:30 a.m. So what's so bad about being 80?
Uh-huh.
I don't wake up until 7 a.m.
Oh my goodness. That's a good one. Oh, oh.
So he's pooping himself. All right, this one's kind of, I'm gonna read it. A Holocaust survivor dies of old age and goes to heaven.
Oh,
He tells God a Holocaust joke. God replies, "That's not funny."
oh.
The man replies, "I guess you had to be there." That was bad.
That's a
How do
good
you
one.
know that's not me?
That was bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. A 100-year-old Japanese man is being interviewed for a newspaper piece about extreme old age.
Oh.
And the reporter asks, "So, do you think there's any merit to the stereotype that people from this village live a lot longer than others?"
Oh.
The old man thinks for a second and says, "You know, I'm not sure. Let me go ask my dad." And the reporter, stunned, stammers, "Your dad? Where is he right now?" And the old man says, "I think he's out fishing with my grandpa." So the guy's 100 years old, and his dad is out fishing with his grandpa.
Correct.
Good boys.
Okay. That's okay. Forget it. Happened only once. No problem. Listen.
All right, sex at old age.
Uh-oh.
An 82-year-old man tells his doctor that he will marry a 23-year-old woman.
Oh my goodness.
Doctor, with a smile on his face, "Be careful at this age. Sex might be deadly if you're not careful."
Oh.
The man, "Well, if she dies, I'll just marry another one."
That's a good one. Oh, why not?
All right.
Still unmarried then.
I know, huh? Next one. You gain appreciation for a lot of things in your old age. Simple things that maybe you didn't realize you treasured before, that bring you comfort in their familiarity. You come to cherish those little things. For me, that thing is a single ply toilet paper. When I use it, I feel the whole thing. I don't get that one. I wrote a poem called Old Age Pensioners' Underwear. Roses are red, violets are blue, Ethels are green. I don't get that. I don't get that. All right. A stand-up comic gets a gig to perform at an old age home. Soon into his act, he notices that most of the old people that are there are pretty out of it, so he tries to tell the same joke twice, and people still laugh because they have already forgotten that they just heard it.
Yes.
So he gets a kick out of it and keeps telling the same joke for half an hour. And towards the end of it, he notices that one old guy is staring at him. He finishes his half hour and is about to leave, and the old guy approaches him. The comic is a bit nervous that the old guy is going to confront him about what he just did, telling the same joke over and over again for 30 minutes. He braces himself for some uncomfortable confrontation, and the old guy asks him, "How do you remember all those jokes?" He didn't remember that he told the same joke over and over again for 30 minutes. He thought they were all different jokes. Next one. A cowboy was told that if he sprinkles gunpowder on his breakfast, he lived to a ripe old age. So he did this religiously every morning. He lived to the ripe old age of 96. He left behind 8 children, 24 grandchildren, and 60 great-grandchildren, as well as a 16-foot hole in the wall of the crematory.
Oh my
Because he
goodness.
ate the gunpowder every morning, so when they burned him, he blew up. They put him in the crematorium, he blew up.
Oh my goodness, that's a good joke.
A woman tells her doctor, I've got a bad back. The doctor says, it's just old age. The woman says, well, I want a second opinion.
Oh.
The doctor says, okay, you're ugly as well.
That's a good one. Yeah.
All right. A husband leans over and asks his wife, hey, sweetie, do you remember the first time we had sex together over 50 years ago? We went behind the village tavern where you leaned against the back fence and I made love to you. Oh, yes, she says. I remember it well. Okay, okay. He says, how about taking a stroll around there again and we can do it for old time's sakes? Oh, Jim, you old devil. That sounds like a crazy but good idea.
Oh.
A police officer sitting in the next booth heard their conversation. Having a chuckle to himself, he thinks to himself, I've got to see these two old timers having sex against the fence. I'll just keep an eye on them so that there's no trouble. So the cop follows them. The elderly couple walks haltingly along, leaning on each other for support, aided by walking sticks. Finally, they get to the back of the tavern and make their way to the fence. The old lady lifts her skirt and the old man drops his trousers. As she leans against the fence, the old man moves in. Then suddenly, they erupt in the most furious sex that the policeman has ever seen. This goes on for about 10 minutes while both are making loud noises and moaning and screaming. Finally, they both collapse, panting on the ground. The policeman is amazed. He thinks he has learned something about life and old age that he didn't know. After about half an hour of lying on the ground recovering, the old couple struggle to their feet and put their clothes back on. The policeman is still watching and thinks to himself, this is truly amazing. I've got to ask them what their secret is. So as the couple passes, he says to them, excuse me, that was something else. You must have had a fantastic sex life together. Is there some sort of secret to this? Shaking, the old man is barely able to reply. Oh, for 50 years, that wasn't an electric fence. For 50 years ago, that wasn't an electric fence.
No wonder.
They weren't having sex, they were being electrocuted. After months of deliberation, a surgeon decides to put his elderly father into an old age home. After a week, he goes for a visit. He reviews his father's chart at the end of his bed and sees that among the medications he's taking, Viagra is one of them. The surgeon approaches his father's nurse and asks if his dad has met someone. The nurse says, no, we give him Viagra so he doesn't roll out of bed.
Say what right out there. That's good.
That's
Yeah.
An old lady was praying in a hospital bed before her operation, and God appeared. Please, Lord, I've been a good woman, and am I to die tomorrow? Is that why you are here? God replied, no, my child. I'm here to tell you not to be worried. You still have 30 years of beautiful life ahead of you.
Wow.
In celebration, the lady asked the doctor to also perform plastic surgery on her. A facelift, breast lift, Botox, the whole works. And at the end of it, she looked 25 years younger, like a new woman.
Wow.
She could not be any happier, thinking to herself that she still has a wonderful 30 years to enjoy her new body. She walked out of the hospital and gets hit by an ambulance coming in and died.
Oh,
wow.
So the lady is now up in heaven and in front of God. What the hell, Lord? You told me I would still have 30 years to go. Why would you lie? The Lord shrugs. My bad, I didn't recognize you.
That's a good one. I didn't recognize.
Jack was dying of old age, and he was on his deathbed. Suddenly, a delicious smell wafted into the room, a smell Jack knew all too well. Oh, my loving wife, she knows I'm dying, and she's cooking my absolute favorite, fresh chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
Shaking badly, he rolls out of bed and lands on the floor, dislocating his shoulder. With a grunt of pain, he pulls himself to the stairs and slides down them on his belly. He feels his muscles being strained and cramping up, and he's in excruciating pain.
Oh.
Weakly and slowly, he crawls toward the kitchen, the smell of the cookies bringing long dormant memories flooding his mind. Oh, my loving wife, she cooked me so many cookies. Indeed, the countertops were covered in hundreds of chocolate chip cookies.
Wow.
With a mixture of agony, nostalgia, and joy, a trembling hand stretched out, tears streaming down his cheeks. Jack reaches up to grab a cookie from the counter. Suddenly, a wooden spoon smacks him sharply on the hand. His wife screeches, "Jack, those are for the wake."
Oh. Oh my.
He's not dead yet, but she's about to die, so she's making cookies for the wake.
Oh.
That's terrible. All right, so let's see what else we got. That was a good one.
What time
Two old-aged guys, 170 and 175, were sitting on a park bench one morning. The 75-year-old had just finished his morning jog and wasn't even short of breath. The 70-year-old was amazed at the guy's stamina and asked him what he did to have so much energy. The 75-year-old said, "Well, I eat rye bread every day. It keeps your energy level high and you'll have great stamina with the ladies." So on the way home, the 70-year-old stopped at the bakery. As he was looking around, the sales lady asked if he needed any help. He said, "Do you have any rye bread?" She said, "Oh yes, there's a whole shelf of it. Would you like some?" He said, "I want 5 loaves." She said, "My goodness, 5 loaves? By the time you get to the 3rd loaf, it'll be hard." He replied, "I can't believe everyone knows about this shit except me." All right. I want to live my next life backwards. You start out dead and get that out of the way. Then you wake up in an old age home feeling better every day. Then you get kicked out for being too healthy. Enjoy your retirement and collect your pension. Then when you start work, you get a gold watch on your first day.
Wow.
You work 40 years until you're too young to work. You get ready for high school, drink alcohol, party, and you're generally promiscuous. Then you go to primary school and you become a kid. You play and you have no responsibilities. Then you become a baby. And then you spend the last 9 months floating peacefully in luxury in spa-like conditions, central heating, room service on tap, and then you finish off as an orgasm. I rest my case. I don't get that one. Okay. A fruitful joke. A very Christian woman marries a Christian man. So a very Christian woman marries a very Christian man. Following the words of the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. They have many children. 16 over the course of 18 years to be exact. A few years later, the husband dies suddenly of a heart attack.
Oh,
The lady remarries another man and they have 17 children over the course of 22 more years.
wow.
The woman's second husband dies of old age. The woman herself dies a few years later. At her funeral, her sister remarks, well, at least they're finally together. Who? She and her husband's? Asked the pastor. No, says the sister, her legs.
Oh my.
Yeah, she's had like 33 children.
Wow, can you imagine?
A lot of kids. Next one, building contractor. The building contractor dies in a tragic accident on his 40th birthday.
Oh.
He ends up in heaven where he's greeted at the pearly gates by a brass band and St. Peter.
Wow.
St. Peter shakes the guy's hand and says, congratulations. The contractor is a little confused and says, congratulations for what? Congratulations for what? Says St. Peter.
Yeah.
We're celebrating the fact that you lived to the grand old age of 160.
Wow.
The contractor says, well, that's not right. I only live to be 40.
Oh.
That's impossible, says St. Peter.
Uh-huh.
We added up all your timesheets.
Oh.
Okay.
I wonder what's next.
Let's see. My grandma got her foot amputated because of diabetes.
Oh.
Seeing her like this reminds me that no one can escape old age, especially if you only have one leg.
Uh-oh. Oh. Wow. No way. Yeah.
Little Johnny was on a park bench having a cigarette when Karen walks up to him. When a Karen walks up to him, excuse me, young boy, but those things will take years off your life. With all due respect, madam, I'll have you know that my great-grandfather lived to the ripe old age of 104.
Wow.
Well, did he smoke also? No, he minded his own damn business.
That's a good one.
Tell that woman, mind your own damn business.
One more?
We're still going.
Oh.
My mother has schizophrenic episodes. She lives in a nice house next to the San Francisco Bay on a small melon farm, her choice. She's an excellent farmer, even in her old age. And honestly, she's a wonderful, sweet woman. But increasingly, I find it very hard to visit. The problem is that when she has her schizophrenic episodes and suffers visual hallucinations, she feels compelled to tell me about her tell me about them in lurid detail, and to ask me to confirm whether what she saw was real or an hallucination. I just can't take it anymore. I guess what I'm saying is that down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go. For if I do, my mother will say, did you ever see a duck driving a truck down by the bay? I know.
It must be pretty strong.
An old age pensioner wins the lottery. An old lady wins the lottery. She wins big, almost $200 million.
Wow.
With friends and family around celebrating, she announces that she is giving half her winnings to the German Nazi Party.
Oh.
Everyone around her is stunned and amazed, and they all ask why. They all quiet down, and the little frail old lady replies, "They're the ones that gave me my numbers." Oh, jeez. Oh, that's bad.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Because she won the lotto, but she's giving it to the Nazis
Oh.
because the Nazis gave her numbers because she was in a concentration camp and had
Oh
tattoos.
my goodness.
That one's bad. I should have read that one before.
Oh.
We'll do one more. Ooh, that's a long one. All right. A husband notices his wife's hearing is deteriorating and decides to visit her doctor for advice. "I can't speak to my wife directly as she might find it offensive. Given our old age," he says to the doctor, "there's a simple trick you can try to determine her hearing," explains the doctor. "Simply ask her a question at a distance, and if she doesn't hear you, move slightly closer and ask it again until she does." That night, the husband arrives home and sees his wife in the kitchen cooking. He thinks to himself, "What a perfect opportunity to test the hearing theory." He stands in the doorway and promptly asks, "What's for dinner, honey?" No answer. He moves closer. Exactly. He moves closer. "What's for dinner, honey?" Still no answer. He moves even closer. "What's for dinner, honey?" Still his wife doesn't answer. He now sees how serious her hearing problem is. And at this point, he stood right next to his wife. "What's for dinner, honey?" "For the fourth fucking time, we're having chicken." Because he can't hear.
Oh, no wonder.
What's that?
Good one.
She can hear, he can't.
Oh, yeah.
But he thought she can't hear because he was saying stuff and he thought she wasn't replying, but in fact he couldn't hear her reply.
Oh, that's a good one.
So thank you again for joining me for our joke
Oh.
segment. Again, my name is Diallo. I will see you again.
Oh.
Good idea.
Quick.